Imagine the very purchases you consider as wealth builders are the ones holding you back financially every single day. You pour your earnings into items that appear valuable but stealthily sap your bank balance. The wealthy see the divide between true assets and financial traps, something most people never learn. In this overview, we'll expose the 10 worst so-called assets that keep you strapped for cash. The seventh item is an insidious snare that ensnares countless individuals without them even noticing. It's a common belief that building wealth hinges on gross earnings, but the reality is that your prosperity depends on how much you conserve and where you allocate your funds. Affluent individuals don't simply collect higher paychecks, they execute shrewd financial strategies. On the flip side, those struggling often stumble into traps dressed up as investments, promoted by banks, corporations, and even educational institutions that profit from your financial naivety. If you've ever wondered why long hours and hard work still can't propel you forward, prepare for a wake-up call. Let's delve into the 10 worst assets that keep your wallet perpetually thin. First up, brand new cars. Consider the thrill of stepping into a gleaming vehicle and feeling that luxurious new car aura. Yet the moment you roll off the dealer's lot, the value plummets, often by several $1,000s within minutes. Picture purchasing a smartphone for $1,000, only to be told it is instantly worth $800. You'd raise hell, but this very scenario plays out on a grand scale with new automobiles. Fast forward 5 years, and the $40,000 you invested could translate to a resale value below $20,000. Factor in the loan interest, which can easily accumulate into the thousands, and by the time you clear the debt, you may have spent over $50,000 on a depreciating asset. Savvy buyers sidestep this loss by choosing slightly pre-owned cars just a few years old, steering clear of that initial dive in value while enjoying reliable transportation. The capital they save gets funneled into assets that appreciate, such as growing enterprises or market portfolios. So before you commit to that brand new model, ask yourself, is it worth watching cash evaporate for the sake of a fresh paint job? From a purely financial standpoint, a new car is not an investment. It's an expensive means of travel. Second on the list, timeshares. Picture yourself lounging beside an idyllic resort pool, cocktail in hand, when a persuasive salesperson offers you an opportunity to return here annually for a fraction of the cost. It sounds irresistible, doesn't it? But timeshares aren't genuine investments. They're financial handcuffs. In exchange for the privilege, you must pay tens of thousands of dollars up front, and in return, you're granted the right to use that vacation property for only 1 or 2 weeks each year. Even if you never use a timeshare, you're still on the hook for yearly maintenance charges that only climb higher over time. And trying to sell one? That's tougher than offloading an old treadmill. Buyers are almost non-existent, and countless owners remain trapped in contracts they can't escape. Wealthy individuals don't lock themselves into arrangements like this. They reserve trips when and where they want, and because they put their money into appreciating assets, shares, real estate, or enterprises, they can travel without worrying about hidden fees or binding agreements. So before you commit to the dotted line on a timeshare, ask yourself, am I ready to pledge the same vacation spot forever, or would I rather keep the freedom to explore anywhere? A timeshare isn't a luxury card. It's a financial snare disguised as a getaway. Number 3. Designer clothing and accessories. Sure, who doesn't love high-end gear? A premium handbag, designer sneakers, or an upscale watch delivers a thrill. But investing thousands in name brands doesn't build true wealth. In fact, it often does the opposite. Most people chase labels not for better craftsmanship, but for the logo and the image it projects. And when they charge these splurges on credit, they pay interest on items that never appreciate. Wealthy buyers may sport luxury pieces, but only after they're already financially secure. They never empty their accounts or max out plastic for a single belt or pair of trainers. Instead, they channel funds into assets that generate returns. Picture two friends. One spends $2,000 on a designer purse, while the other invests that same sum. 10 years later, the purse is an outdated relic, but the investment has likely grown substantially. Next time you're tempted by a shiny label, pause and consider, am I buying this because I truly love it or to impress others? Genuine wealth isn't about appearances. It's about what you own that works for you. Number 4. Lottery tickets. Buying a lottery ticket triggers daydreams of quitting your job, jetting around the globe, or owning a beachfront villa. But the lottery isn't a shortcut to riches. It's a game built with astronomical odds stacked against you. Your chance of hitting the jackpot is about 1 in 292 million, like plucking one specific grain of sand from every beach on Earth. Meanwhile, the average player spends around $400 each year on tickets. Imagine directing that money into real growth engines, equities, exchange-traded funds, or a side venture. Over the years, those contributions could blossom into genuine wealth. Lottery tickets, by contrast, end up as crumpled scraps of paper. Remember, they're not really selling you a ticket, they're selling you hope. They highlight the rare jackpot winners, but never mention the millions who pour their cash down the drain every week chasing the same pipe dream. In stark contrast, wealthy people don't wait for a windfall. They grow their wealth steadily and strategically by investing in assets that yield real returns. Next time you consider buying a lottery ticket, ask yourself, am I building my future or just bankrolling a fantasy? Number 5. Overpriced degrees. College is pitched as your ticket to a better life, but not every major justifies its price tag. Picture borrowing $100,000 for a degree that leads to low-paying roles. That's like financing a car that won't run. You're lumbered with debt, but stuck in neutral. I'm not knocking education. Knowledge is priceless, but the wealthy treat tuition as a calculated outlay. They question, if I invest this amount in schooling, what will the payoff be? That's why they gravitate toward fields like medicine, engineering, law, or technology, which generally command higher salaries. Meanwhile, many students take on massive loans without considering whether their chosen subject will deliver adequate income. They graduate, struggle to land solid positions, and end up servicing debt for decades. That's not education, it's a debt trap. The good news? You can fast-track a lucrative career through trade schools, online qualifications, or self-taught skills, all without drowning in loans. Plenty of people climb the income ladder without laying out huge sums for a diploma. Before you sign up for student loans, ask, will this degree boost my earnings, or am I just shelling out for a certificate? Number 6. High-interest debt. Ever buy something on your credit card thinking, I'll handle it later? It seems innocent, but that's exactly how you get trapped. Credit card interest compounds quickly, and soon you owe far more than your initial purchase. Imagine charging $5,000 on a card at a 20% rate and only making minimum payments. That balance won't stay the same. It will balloon, potentially forcing you to pay double or even triple that figure. It's akin to buying a $1,000 phone and ending up paying $2,500. Wealthy individuals approach debt differently. They don't swipe for wants they can't afford. They use loans as tools, borrowing to invest in ventures that generate income, like real estate or businesses. Kind of like casting a wide net instead of using a single fishing pole. Most people, though, charge depreciating items. Designer threads, the latest gadgets, indulgent dinners, things that drain their wallets without adding value. They fall into a rinse and repeat cycle. Spend, borrow, pay interest, and repeat, until they're servicing debts for past treats. Before you tap that card, ask yourself, will this purchase enrich my financial life, or am I borrowing from my future self? Because less debt equals more freedom. Number 7. Boats and luxury toys. Owning a boat sounds thrilling, skimming across the water, soaking up the sun, feeling like a boss. But nobody ever tells you this. Owning a boat is like having a giant, high-maintenance pet. It demands constant attention and drains your budget even when it's parked. There's a running gag among boat owners. The 2 best days are the day you buy your boat and the day you sell it. And it's spot on. The sticker price is just the tip of the iceberg. After that come maintenance bills, marina fees, insurance premiums, fuel costs, and winter storage, easily adding up to thousands of dollars each year. Unlike a house or a classic car, a boat never gains value. It depreciates rapidly, much like an automobile on land. Wealthy people don't sink cash into something they'll only use on a few weekends. They rent or charter when they actually want to be on the water, sidestepping all the headaches and endless bills. So before you dream of captain's life, ask yourself, am I after the thrill or the never-ending expenses? Unless you plan to be aboard almost every day, renting is almost always cheaper and way less stressful. Number 8. Whole life insurance. You've heard it pitched as an investment. Pay in premiums now, collect a cash benefit later. Sounds solid on paper, but here's the catch. It's one of the most expensive, slowest paths to true wealth. You're paying hefty fees, getting minimal returns, and waiting decades to see real growth. Meanwhile, the insurance company is happily pocketing your premiums. Savvy investors avoid locking money into sluggish policies. They funnel cash into stocks, rental properties, or businesses, assets that compound far more quickly. So if you're considering whole life as an investment, pause and ask yourself, could I put this money somewhere that actually works harder for me? The answer is almost certainly yes. Number 9. High-end gadgets and tech upgrades. Every year brings a must-have smartphone, laptop, or gadget, supposedly leagues ahead of last year's model. Yet your device from just 12 months ago still functions perfectly. Tech giants excel at manufacturing urgency, tweaking a camera here, refining a chassis there, and convincing us our current gear is obsolete. Then they price the new phone at over $1,000 and a laptop at $2,000 or more. If you upgrade annually just to keep up, you'll dump thousands into devices that offer minimal real benefit. The wealthy don't fall for that trap. They use their tech until it genuinely fails or no longer meets their needs. The money they save skips frivolous upgrades and goes straight into actual investments. So before you hit pre-order, ask, is this a real necessity, or am I buying into slick marketing? In most cases, your existing gadget is just fine. Number 10. Expensive weddings. No doubt, weddings can be beautiful. But have you ever paused to consider the price tag? The typical celebration runs upwards of $3,000 for a single day. A lavish venue, a dress worn once, and a party that's over in a few hours. Imagine this. $30,000 could cover a down payment on a house, provide seed capital for a new venture, or be invested to grow substantially over the years. Yet too many people blow that same amount on an over-the-top wedding, sometimes even borrowing to fund it, just to impress guests who likely won't remember most of the details. Wealthy individuals view things differently. They understand that genuine financial security lasts a lifetime, whereas a wedding celebration is over in a single day. That doesn't mean they skip celebrating. It means they allocate their resources wisely and keep their priorities straight. So before you splurge on a massive wedding, pause and ask yourself, am I crafting a truly meaningful experience, or am I simply following everyone else's expectations? More often than not, the smarter move is to simplify the celebration and redirect that cash toward your future. Here's the hard truth. The real gap between the wealthy and everyone else isn't just a matter of income. It's all about where you deploy your money. Those stuck in tight financial spots tend to acquire things that appear to be assets, but actually become expensive liabilities. In contrast, affluent people concentrate on investments that generate steady cash flow, appreciate over time, and open the door to long-term freedom. Focus on acquiring rental properties that deliver monthly income, buying stocks or index funds that compound over years, launching side businesses that provide passive returns, and honing skills or knowledge that boost your earning potential. The goal isn't merely to make more money. It's to have your money work diligently for you. If you're serious about building real wealth, stop spending as though you've already made it. Cut out those financial traps and start investing in opportunities that will power your future instead.